Welcome to Jersey's Best Podcast, a weekly deep dive into everything that makes New Jersey spectacular, bizarre, beautiful, sometimes annoying, but always the best. My name is Jeremy Schneider. I'm a food and culture reporter for NJ.com and the Star-Ledger, and I'm also your host. I've been looking forward to this week's episode for months because this one is all about the power of nature, the beast within us and the beasts that surround us. This week is all about New Jersey wildlife, both an appreciation of our local fauna, but also an understanding of just how mighty our furry friends truly are. We've got a bunch of animals listed here, and we're going to toss out some fun facts for each of them. We're also going to determine which ones I could beat in a fight. But don't worry, no wildlife was harmed in making this podcast. Joining me today is Wild Mike Miller, a veteran zoologist who has traveled across the world studying and photographing animals, and the author of Through a Keeper's Eye, The Wanderlust Keeper, and A Keeper in the Wild, 3 books featuring his incredible animal photography. Wild Mike is not only going to give us a lesson in New Jersey animals, but handicap my chances against them in combat. Spoiler alert, it's not looking good for your boy. Wild Mike, welcome to Jersey's Best Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeremy. I'm really excited to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity.
We are so excited to have you. I mean, Wild Mike, your reputation precedes you. With a name like Wild Mike, how could it not?
I try.
A lot of kids dream about working with animals. You actually made that dream happen. Talk to me about that. How did you become Wild Mike Miller?
It was one of those things where ever since I was young, I always wanted to work with animals. And probably my first memory, I was 4 or 5, and me and my brother did one of those sleepover tent things in the living room. And I woke up, and it was a PBS special with the Serengeti migration, with all the wildebeest jumping through with the crocodiles. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. And ever since then, I just really wanted to work with all types of animals. And I just kind of stuck with it. And I just wanted to make sure that happened. And it molded to something different over the years, but it's still keeping animals in my life pretty prevalent.
So ever since you can remember, you wanted to be a zoologist.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Every time. When
people think about New Jersey, they don't really think about animals. They think highways, factories, concrete. But there's plenty of animals in New Jersey. And I feel like this is just another example of New Jersey being misunderstood, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you could everything from down South Jersey to the Pinelands or going to real North Jersey. I mean, Jersey is so huge from one end to the other. There's still untapped areas of wild where you can really go out and enjoy yourself and get to see some of that wildlife.
What is New Jersey's reputation in the zoology world? Do we have a reputation? Are you zoologists talking about our different animals and stuff, or is it are we overlooked?
It's one of those. I feel like it's one of those quiet states that no one really expects the variety that they'll get to see. Everything from the birding, from the mountainous regions in North Jersey to the shorebirds, and then you have the whales that frequent offshore down in Cape May, or they're migrating up north to off of Boston and Cape Cod and things like that. So I think it's really untapped until you hear one of those stories of just like a black bear going through someone's yard or ending up playing in somebody's pool, something like that. So no one really counts New Jersey as like a wild destination, but there's plenty of great spots to see.
And there's plenty of great animals, and we're going to break some of them down. Before we do, I just want to ask you real quickly, you're the expert. Tell us a little bit about your experience with animals, your how you got here, how you became an expert.
I always large mammals was more of my favorite thing and my main focus. So I went to school for zoo animal technology. I went and got a associate's degree in that when it was really advanced, where it was 2 years round the seasons, so we never really had a break, but we got to do in the classroom mixed with practical hands-on experience. So we worked with a couple zoos for internships and things like that. And once I got my foot in the door, I always try to keep a positive attitude. I'm a real morning person. Not a lot of people like that, but I work on it, and they really enjoy it. So, and unfortunately, my personality meets the high energy of a lot of animals. So, working everything from small primates to things like giraffe over the years. And then I wanted to take that love I have for animals to try and share with everyone else and, try and build an appreciation that I built. So photography kind of just floated into my lap with that. Because no matter if it was in the wild or in a zoological facility, there's little moments that are just so precious and awesome that you really don't get to connect with creatures like that. So I wanted to try and telegraph that through the photos to people to really show them like why zoological facilities are so important and why are animals in nature so important. So it kind of just all molded together, and I went back to school and I finished a bachelor's degree in photography, and I just kind of been sticking with it ever since. And it's been 15 years now since I started working with animals. Photography became a big part around 10 years ago. So it's just, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Well, it's very, very cool. There's no one I can think of better to help us with this topic, specifically me fighting these animals. So let's get down to it. It's time for the main event, the moment you've all been waiting for. Jeremy versus New Jersey animals.
Ooh, it's not looking good.
Wild Mike and I, man, I just love how that sounds. Wild Mike and I. We're going to go discuss some of these New Jersey animals from smallest to largest, and if I could beat them in a fight. Let's get ready to rumble. Tried to get Michael Buffer for that, but it was not in the budget. So let's get down to it. Our first animal, the honeybee. Honeybee is the state insect in New Jersey. That happened when a group of children from the Sunnybray School in Hamilton Township went to the State House with a song and a poem to convince New Jersey to make it the state bug. They're about half an inch long. They're essential to flower pollination. I don't like bees. They scare me. They're terrifying. Bees can sting you.
They are surprising little powerhouses because they buzz around at nearly 20 miles an hour, and they won't. Especially honeybees, if they sting you, unfortunately, that would be they would meet their demise, because once they sting, then they unfortunately cannot survive any longer. So it's a last resort. But if you disturb a hive, all the bees will make the hive the number one priority and will risk their lives for sure.
Yeah, they're like kamikazes, right? They come at you, they sting you, they die, but they literally die for the hive. That's
1,000%. Man,
look, I used to tell people that I was allergic to bee stings to justify how scared I was of bees. And I'm not allergic to bee stings. They're so small, but shit hurts, man.
And I mean, I don't want to scare you any more than you already are, but if enough bees possibly do sting you, even if you're not allergic, the natural swelling and things that occur like that from their venom per se.
Venom. That sounds bad.
Well, I only say venom because sometimes people get confused when they say something's poisonous. They don't really know the difference. Poisonous is if it's like on the skin and it's like it's secreted, but venom is whenever something is injected.
We're talking about injections
or their
bee
toxins.
Man, this
Sorry.
is taking a turn. No.
Rough.
You're the expert. This is what we need you here for.
But that swelling, if enough bees, like if a whole hive gets you, that swelling may still cause some problems, even if you're not allergic per se.
Bees can fly. I cannot fly. That's going to be a problem for me in this fight. I read that there can be up to 10,000 bees in a colony. So, like you said, you mess with one, you're messing with 10,000. I've not seen the movie Wicker Man, but I saw the scene with Nick Cage and the bees.
Oh, the bees!
Not the bees! So, yeah, I don't want that. I'm like this. We're really starting off with a bang or a buzz. I don't like. But the thing, bees, they don't want to sting you. You kind of touched on this. They don't want to sting you.
No, absolutely not. And you could see when beekeepers are working with their hive, they're not necessarily swarming them to sting them. They're just on them just to see what's going on and investigating. And when they don't detect a threat, they're not going to sting. If one does sting, there's pheromones that come out when the stinger gets released to let everyone else know, hey, I did my job.
We're mobbing. Let's go. Bang, bang, bang.
But they are very gentle creatures. When they want to be. But as long as there's not a threat, you see countless videos of beekeepers working, and they're just crawling
chilling
over them. Yeah,
I've seen it. I dated a girl that had beehives. Lovely girl, did not like the bees. Man, I've also seen Jackass. They hover wherever. Oh God.
Yeah.
Bees are important though. They're essential to the I don't want to get rid of bees. I just want them to leave me alone because I know they're essential to the process of pollination and crops and we're the Garden State, so we got to have bees, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's many main staple produce and plants that if bees ceased to exist, then those plants would cease to exist. And unfortunately, it would be a massive hit to our environment. Soybean is actually one of the main staple things that they are solely responsible for perpetuating. And, that soybean is a huge industry. They use it for everything besides foods, different materials. So they are literally essential to a lot of different things.
Okay, so not only do I not want to fight them, I shouldn't fight them.
Absolutely.
I will leave the bees alone. But the verdict, based on everything we talked, based on the stinging, based on how big the colony is, backed on the fact that I am terrified of them. Advantage bees. I'm not beating a bee in a fight. I'm not beating 1. I'm not beating 1,000. Bees. Let's keep our distance from each other. You agree, right?
1,000%. I would never. My whole thing is definitely nature is there for a reason, and they are not people for a reason, and we are not built like any of these creatures. So I definitely would not mess with them.
Okay, off to a bad start. Animals 1, Jeremy 0.
Ooh.
Something tells me they're going to run up the score. Our second animal, the bog turtle. The bog turtle is the official New Jersey state reptile, and they are absolutely adorable. They're smaller than 4 inches long. They weigh less than 4 ounces. They're so cute. They have distinct little orange patches behind their ears, and they don't want to fight, and I don't want to fight them either. I like turtles. I've seen the YouTube video. I like turtles, and I mean, I think I might, just based on the numbers, I have a shot, but it's kind of a situation where they would appeal to my humanity, and I just have a hard time seeing myself working up the anger that required to fight these tiny little things.
Yeah, and trust me, they've definitely had their share of problems with people because they are so small and adorable. It's a big problem with them is poaching for the illegal pet trade because they do stay so small. And between that and, they're losing areas in their wetlands, their population has dropped by 30% since the 80s. So it's really tough. But when you see one, every animal has a real key part to play in the environment, a niche, if you will. And, you see one and, you might think they have a really important job, which they do. And then you also see it, and it's like Puss in Boots from they're big eyes, and you can't help but really love these little guys.
No,
slimy or not.
So they're like love the Ninja Turtles of these turtles. I want to break down turtles a little bit. The bog turtle, it's too cute to fight. I think that's the rule. But I have had run-ins with turtles in the past. I was swimming at Terrence Pond in West Milford once, and a snapping turtle snapped my toe.
Oh my goodness.
And I screamed like a child, and my friends still won't let me live it down. Anytime we talk about turtles, this comes up. So in theory, turtles are tough. I would lose a fight to some turtles. Give them some credit. We're talking about these tiny little turtles, but there are some big, terrifying turtles in New Jersey, right?
Oh yeah, like you said, the snapping turtles can get absolutely massive, and they've been around, since almost the dawn of time. So they can hold their own, and those jaws are super powerful. And once they come down. And do you still have the toe?
It did not. I kept the toe, thankfully.
Oh my goodness!
But I didn't lose the memory.
Very lucky. Very lucky. A lot of fish that they would hunt for aren't as lucky once they get in those jaws.
So I got tough toes apparently. Another thing, I went to the University of Maryland. Our mascot is a turtle, so I have a deep connection with turtles. I'm not fighting them. Advantage turtle, a bog turtle. You're so cute. You're so tiny. I could not. I don't have that hate in my heart to fight an adorable Puss in Boots-esque, cartoon character-esque animal. Also, it's the state reptile. I mean, fighting a bog turtle is fighting New Jersey, and I'm not going to fight New Jersey.
He's so compassionate.
We'll see how. I mean, I literally just talk about how much I hate bees, but I love this turtle, and I'm not advantage turtle. Snapping turtles, stay away from me. Bog turtles, let's hang out. But you shouldn't have them as pets, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay,
no.
Okay.
That would not work out good. And that's the thing. A lot of people that have gotten these as pets, they just don't have they don't properly take care of them, and unfortunately, they don't survive. And they have a real important job out in the marshes, keeping a balance. The insects and everything like that. So. It's best to leave them where they are for sure.
Okay, bog turtles, you win this round and every round. You've won my heart. The next animal, the state bird, the eastern goldfinch. It's not only the state bird of New Jersey, also the state bird of Iowa and Washington, which frankly feels kind of unoriginal to me. We got a whole lot of birds here. Can't we get our own bird? But they're 4.3 to 5.5 inches long. Another tiny animal, bigger than the turtle, but not that much bigger. Their beaks are small, but it's still a beak. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, like, since they're a bird, all beaks are designed to eat different things, and they're actually one of probably the most I don't know how to phrase it, the most vegetarian concentrated bird, because they really only stick to seeds.
okay.
So they don't really. It's not like a crazy strong beak for sure. So you can
It's still a
relax
beak.
a little. It is
I'm
still
not
a beak. For
relaxing.
sure. I mean, your
No.
eye is softer than a seed.
Yeah,
so.
that was my biggest fear.
And they have wings.
Again, we've established I can't fly. I didn't have to do much research to figure that one out, but I have done research, and you kind of touched on this. They do like birdseed, and I know where to get birdseed.
Yes.
And I mean, if we're talking strategery, I could bust out some birdseed, lay a trap or something.
Lull them into a false sense of security with some sunflower seed.
Who's this schmuck on NJ.com? He can't even fly. We're gonna beat him in a fight or not. We'll see. But like the flying thing is a serious advantage. I don't think this is a goldfinch on my shirt, but it's a bird. Goldfinch. I mean, do you like my chances in this fight?
I mean,
Not a lot of confidence there.
It's one of those things where because they're so little and so energetic, I feel like, unfortunately, it's one of those animals that would tire you out because they would just circles like Muhammad Ali.
So you're calling me out of shape.
You.
Great. Fantastic.
I mean, maybe let's not say that. Let's just say not as reflexive and
Yes.
agile.
That quick twitch. No. I don't think
The quick attack on these things would be off the charts.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'd like to say that I mean, just size wise, if we agreed to no flying, I might be able to take the eastern goldfinch down. But if they're flying, game over. Verdict: advantage eastern goldfinch. They can fly. They have beaks. I have eyes. Beaks beat eyes. I don't want to find out how that goes. I need my eyes.
Solid choice.
Thank you.
Again.
I'm glad you were. I mean, you know what? I was thinking maybe you'd say I could win that one. Hopefully, this next one we feel better about. The brook trout, the official state fish of New Jersey. It's a species of freshwater fish you can find in lakes and rivers, mostly in Northwest Jersey. The biggest one ever caught in New Jersey was in 1995 in the Rockaway River, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. I'm bigger than 7 pounds, 3 ounces. I think that's how big I was when I was a baby. I wouldn't want to be a baby fighting a fish, but right now, I don't know. One thing we've been talking about flying this whole time. Brook trout cannot fly, but it can swim. So can I. I can swim. I took swimming lessons. I'm a decent swimmer. I mean, you haven't seen me swim, but I could do it. Could I swim as well as a brook trout? I don't know. What can you tell us about the brook trout?
I mean, they are very agile, and they're one of those fish that living in the streams, and they are strong even though they're little because they go against the current. I don't know how you did in maybe your last riptide that you were caught in, but I'm guessing not well.
I go against the grain, but I don't like riptides. That sounds dangerous.
It's one of those. It's again one of those animals that unfortunately I feel would be able to outmaneuver you. I mean, it is a common fish that a lot of anglers like to fish for. But since no one's getting any help from tools, I feel like in the water you have a disadvantage.
It certainly do. I also am pretty terrible at fishing. I've tried fishing. I don't think I've ever caught a fish in my life.
Well, I think we know where this is going.
No, but I have a question for you.
Yes.
When you study fish, do you get like in like the scuba gear? Are you swimming?
So,
like how do you study fish? They are famously not on land.
For me, that's probably my one rule as I got older, going into high school and college, I made with myself is if it's in the water, I won't be in the water because they are made for water and I'm not. So I'm not going to put myself. These are not fins. These are little digits that are nowhere near Michael Phelps. So
he's wild, but he's not a fish.
Yeah, no, that's my one thing. So there are a lot of. I would always just go to aquariums. I've been to a lot around the world, and they really do an amazing job of sharing how important they are for the environments and the different ecosystems. And they really, get you excited about fish with, it's at first it seems like a subject where I'm like, I don't know how exciting that would be, but they really get you into it. But the Magic School Bus was probably my favorite episode about learning about fish when they decided to learn about salmon.
No. Wow, very delicious salmon. That, you know what? I'm a food writer. I eat a lot of fish. I don't think I've ever eaten a brook trout before, but I have a weird feeling I could take them. I'll get in the gym. I'll get in the pool. I'll get my laps up, and eventually I'm gonna beat a brook trout. That's we finally got one on the board for Jeremy.
Proud of you.
Next one, not going to go as well, I don't think. The striped skunk. The striped skunk, generally a shy, non-aggressive mammal found throughout New Jersey. They can be 4 to 10 pounds. So on size, again, size advantage for Jeremy, but they skunk you.
Yeah, and they can spray their spray can reach almost 15 feet.
Okay, that's pretty far.
So you wouldn't be able to close that distance before they hit you with their first thing, and it's their main deterrent. And it's a mixture of sulfur and some other enzymes.
Rotten eggs. I mean, everyone smelled the skunk before, dude. I don't want to smell like that. My dog got skunked once, and it was on my birthday. My dog got skunked on my birthday, and it was miserable. Have you ever been skunked?
Absolutely not. Nope.
It's not like part of the animal training. Like become one with the skunk.
As soon as I see him, I turn and go the other way because it's very oily. So that stuff, it'll stick on your clothes. It'll stick on your skin. It's hard to remove. And even after you do, a tomato sauce bath or the other, home remedies, it's still going to be on you for probably days.
Yeah. If there's one state that's prepared to give you a good tomato bath, it's probably New Jersey, but I don't want to find out, man. And they don't want to spray you. Is it a last resort?
It is a last resort, and it's there. And what they'll do is they'll puff up and make themselves look big. And they'll arch their tails, and that's another way to make themselves look larger because it's just a protective instinct that they have. But then if you persist, or they're predators, coyotes, and things like that, keep going after them, they'll spin, turn, spray, and it also gets in the eyes and could cause some burning.
My eyes again. I'm not coming out of this podcast episode with vision. Jeez,
it's not good. And then they do have strong claws because they do burrow and they do bite, and they have sharp teeth. So one of the things about skunks is actually what's known as a rabies vector animal, which means they can carry it.
That's never good.
But they don't necessarily show all the signs or have it, but they can carry it. So there's a chance if you get bit, it could end up bad for you, but not all of them actually carry it. They just can.
So even if I won this fight, I'm coming out smelling terrible. I'm coming out with rabies. I'm coming with my eyes clawed out. Dude,
possibly long run. Yeah, in the long run, they got the long game.
This is a no contest. The verdict is advantage skunks. I thought the bees were bad. I think I'd rather fight the bees because at least I wouldn't smell bad after the bee sting, and I'd probably get some honey out of it. But this skunks are and they're really cute. Like I've seen TikToks of the skunks. Like people have pet skunks that have had the stink stack or whatever it is removed, right?
Yeah, and that's another thing that's unfortunate because it's a very invasive procedure because it is a full on surgery because it's a gland that's at the base of their tail. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things to where unfortunately some videos show how they could be as some pets, but it's still, when it comes down to it, it's still a wild animal. Mm-hmm. And their best places are definitely in nature. I know they may be cute and cuddly, but it's one of those things where it never really works totally well out for the animal.
All right, so don't have a pet skunk. Don't fight a skunk. I don't care if you lack a sense of smell. It sounds terrible.
But I love your confidence going into this because I figured you felt like you had a good chance.
No. The skunk was, I don't know. I have a very strong sense of smell. And there was actually one period, I live in Jersey City, and there was a skunk infestation on Jersey Ave. And every night I was coming home from the bars after having a few, and it was taking my life in my hands. Like, am I going to get home before I get skunked? And again, they don't want to spray you, but and I'm not a threat, skunks. I promise you. I'm just as scared of you as you are of me because I'm not trying to be stankin'.
And what you were smelling was just their natural musk. because they're in the weasel family. So all weasels have like a natural musk about them, but theirs is super strong, and then the ability to spray. So that wasn't even sprayed.
Say it, don't spray it, skunks. Anytime musk is involved, I'm not psyched on that. So advantage skunks. Animals are really running it up on me here. And the next one is looking even worse. It's almost like we're going by size, and it gets worse as we go. The next animal, the timber rattlesnake. One of 2 venomous snakes found in New Jersey. We couldn't have just done a regular snake. We had to do a venomous snake. And forget the venom. They're scary, dude. They don't have legs. You can't see where they're going. And then you involve the venom. And I read horror stories about the things that need to be done to get people anti-venom and stuff when they get stung by these or bitten by these things. Yeah,
they have amazing camouflage, so you don't see them. And that rattle that you always hear about and see in cartoons and stuff, that is their warning sign to predators to back off. And actually, as they rattle, they can rattle it faster to make it seem like they're a lot closer to you.
Interesting. Okay.
And their rattle is really just, it's made of keratin, the same stuff that your hair and nails are made out of. And every time they shed their skin, a new little rattle, a new little level builds on. Yeah. And usually it only gets to be about 7 to 10 of those little plates long, because too many, then it's too much weight, so it'll just, the tops will fall off. But the dangerous thing is also babies, they only have one little button at the end of their tail. So until they shed, they really don't get a rattle, so you can't hear those. And, young snakes, when they bite you, a lot more venom can go into your system, and they're hemotoxic venom, which means that...
Hemotoxic, the 15th terrifying word we've used in this podcast. I never heard that one before, man.
Yeah, there's 2 different types of venom. There's hemotoxic, which they have, which really works on... it attacks the tissue and degrades the tissue and into the bloodstream. And neurotoxic is where it attacks your nervous system. That would be like your mambas and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you were to get bit by a rattlesnake, you'd start seeing some discoloration, and then as time went on, without treatment, the area would become black and just start to slough off and disintegrate.
Slough off.
And also, even if you get bit, to make antivenom, it's mostly used with horses. So they almost microdose the venom into horses and sometimes sheep, things like that. It runs in the bloodstream for a few days to where the antibodies build in their blood. They take out the blood, extract the plasma, all this thing. So also, if you're allergic to horses, there's a lot of antivenom that you probably won't fare off well. You'll have a reaction.
So if you're allergic to a horse and you get bit by a snake, you're done.
The antivenom is tough, because they're just, over the last few years, they've been starting to work with like engineering venom without using anti-venom, without using horses and things like that, because a lot of people actually are allergic to horses.
Venom is one of my favorite cartoon characters. Venom, the substance, not one of my favorite substances. I'm real good on this. This is the first animal that on our list I'm pretty confident I wouldn't just lose, I'd die. I was looking up the things that when you get bitten: intense pain, swelling, bruising, nausea, vomiting, difficulty breathing. I like breathing, and death. So yeah, I want no part of this. Give me the skunk. Give me the bees. Gosh, have you ever been bitten by a snake?
Only like a restrictor, like a python. And the problem with them is they have like a bunch of teeth that reverse like fish hooks. So when they bite, it digs in, and you gotta take it out a couple ways, and it has bacteria and stuff. But luckily, I've never been bit by any venomous snakes. I've handled them before safely. I was trained on how to do it. But they're still one of those things, people call them danger noodles for a reason.
I've never heard that. Danger noodle? Danger noodle. I love that. A danger noodle to me is like an undercooked piece of pasta. That's dangerous. Wow. Danger noodle. But again, I want to hit this again. They don't want to bite you, right? Like they're warning you. Like they're not looking to scrap.
No. As a story with pretty much all animals, they're more afraid of you than they are of them. And it's a fight or flight response. If they're cornered, that's when they'll do the rattle. But otherwise, before you even see them, you'll hear a rustle, and that's them leaving the area. Because, just like it's a basic instinct, you don't want to become something else's prey.
I absolutely don't. Verdict is advantage timber rattlesnake. I don't want any part of you. I don't want to be bitten. I don't know. Just hearing that rattling. I watched a YouTube video because I was like, how the hell does this actually? I mean, like logistically happen? And it just the sound of it like sends like a chill down my spine. So. I don't want them to send venom into my body. Advantage rattlesnake. I will keep it moving on my hikes through North Jersey. Our next animal, an adorable animal that nonetheless scares me, the North American beaver. It is the largest North American rodent. They're muscular, often exceeding 60 pounds in weight. You can find them all over New Jersey. They have bad vision, but good hearing, a good sense of smell, and they have those teeth. I mean, they have to keep chewing throughout their lives to keep the teeth from getting too long. And I don't want them to chew on me. Stick to the wood, beavers. I'm real good on, like, this doesn't sound as terrifying as the rattlesnake, but it's scary in a different way.
Absolutely. And, like you said, when they're on land, they don't seem very dangerous because they're very slow, but they're made to be in the water. Everything from their fur, their tail, their webbed paws, and they can stay underwater for up to 15 minutes before surfacing. And, they have a powerful tail.
I can't do that. I tried. It lasted about 15 seconds.
15? Oh, I'm at 20. Nice. I got one up on you. There you go. Nice.
You can fight the beaver then, not me. Let's turn the tables. Wild Mike versus wildlife.
And their bite is, humans can only bite at around 80 to 90 pounds per square inch, where a beaver bite force is around 190. So it's already over double ours.
So if I even manage to bite the beaver, he's like, all right, bet. And
this is
chomp
nothing.
Right back. It's going to be way worse.
1000%.
Definitely going to break the skin, maybe break bones. Oh, man.
And their teeth are self-sharpening, like you said. They have to keep chewing, so because their teeth are always growing as rodents. So that's why rodents always have to chew. And as they chew, their teeth keep sharpening themselves, and they have layers of enamel on there.
It's like the Hulk. The more they chew, the stronger they get.
Every time.
You wouldn't like a beaver when he's angry. I've seen the angry beavers. I'm good.
And unfortunately, sadly, there's only been one documented death from a beaver. A person in Belarus. I'm guessing he was a photographer or just from the sounds of it, sounds like it was just a tourist. He saw a beaver. He got way too close, and the beaver, had to defend itself, and the beaver bit him in the leg. And unfortunately, because of that powerful bite and teeth, it severed an artery in his leg, and he ended up not being able to make it. So that's an instance right there of, respecting boundaries for animals, especially wild animals, because you never know what they're capable of.
If an animal is known for being able to chew through wood, you probably just shouldn't even mess with them, and that's why I'm giving the advantage to the North American beaver. They have claws. They have strong tails. One thing that I found interesting, in my research, and you probably already knew this, but when they dive, their ears and nose seal off.
Yes.
And their hearts slow down. So like, even if I was able to hold my breath, like the water would be going up my nose and stuff. They're made for the water. Again, I mean, I like my chances against the trout. Against the beaver, not so much.
Yeah, and they have the natural goggles too, with the transparent eyelids that just go right over it. So you're just, all your senses are just gone, and they have all their sharpest attack.
On the land, maybe, but then he might start hitting me with the tail, and those tails are huge, right? And they make they're architects. They're smart. They'd be building things.
1000%.
Another animal that I do not want to fight. This is I'm sensing a theme here. The next animal doesn't really scare me, and actually is way more prevalent in New Jersey than it should be, but I still don't like my chances against the white-tailed deer. The females are 100 pounds. The males are 150 pounds. They're mostly muscle, and as you can see on this on our table here, the males have antlers. Let's look at these antlers.
Yeah, so this rack came from an adult male white-tailed deer. And you can see these are absolutely solid, and these points look dull.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They're close enough to my face right now that I don't trust myself holding this, let alone having a 150-pound animal charging at me with them.
And when the males go into rut, they have a super influx of testosterone. So, not only are the males almost 300 pounds and, they're almost all muscle, but then they have all that extra testosterone running through their body. So with enough force, they drive that can, impale you no problem.
So not only are they impaling me, but they're challenging my manhood at the same time. Fantastic. Just multiple deaths at the same time. They're super fast. We've seen that. And they bump, like they headbutt each other to assert dominance, right?
Yeah, and because when they're going in rut, they're, battling.
What is rut?
So rut is that time of year before the breeding season is when the males will compete for who has control over a certain area, and they will be allowed to find those females in that area and establish a relationship with them. Like I could show you. So when they fight, they go head to head and they intertwine and just jam it all together. And it's really just a back and forth game, and they could fight for hours. They could go on for a long time until one quits, one runs away, or unfortunately one dies. There's so much running through their system that they will just keep going, especially if you have two prime specimens that are just absolutely massive.
I'm not a prime specimen. I'm not massive. I don't have antlers. If they headbutt me, I'm dead. That's how that's gonna go. My dominance is not asserted. We're overpopulated with deer, right? 'Cause I grew up in Essex County, and I didn't remember seeing a bunch of deer in Montclair growing up. Now when I'm back there, they're all over the place, and they're just taking their sweet ass time crossing the road. They're not scared of me. I know they've already asserted their dominance. I don't even know why we're talking about this.
Yeah, and they're and it's one of those things where they're so used to people, and being around them is sometimes it can be even more dangerous because then they don't have that natural fear of seeing us as a predator. And with the lack of predators in areas in certain states, their populations do explode. So it's one of those things where it's that balance in nature loses track, and from one way or another of us taking up land where the predators would need that land to take up, and it just causes an undue balance, and that's one of the reasons why we have a large population boom.
So population, they got that for them. They have the antlers,
and they're notoriously their most active periods are they're crepuscular, which means they'll low light periods. So during dawn hours, those first couple hours for full light, and in the evening around sunset is when you see them out and about. And unfortunately, that's when a lot of accidents happen. And at night, that's their prime time.
And also, let's say I had a car in this situation and God forbid hit the deer. I'm still taking the L because they're messing up your car when you hit. I don't want to hit a deer, but like you hit a deer with your car, it's bad news. I mean, you got blood in your headlights and stuff.
And and unfortunately, like you said, they are massive. And for anyone who's hit a deer before, you're moving at a certain speed, and it's just physics. You're moving fast, and you have another heavy creature in the way. It doesn't work out well.
Physics lesson: do not hit a deer with your car, even if you're fighting them for a podcast. Advantage deer. The only chance I really have, I think, and I save this from my back pocket, pull a Bambi and go after one of their moms and make them really sad. But
my God.
I don't want to do that.
He's an animal.
Apparently,
vicious.
I'm not going to do that. So I have one strategy. It's the doomsday strategy, and we're not using it.
I just got over that movie. It's taken 30 years.
I don't know if I've ever seen that movie. I just know what happens in Bambi.
Well, you know now.
Oh, shit.
Spoiler alert.
Jeez, man. This is going to turn into a therapy session about animals. Speaking of therapy, that's a lot. No, we're not going to say that because it's a long walk to get to the therapy joke here. But the next animal on the list. Are you okay, man? Do you want to get you a tissue, or maybe we'll take you to Disney World, make you feel better?
Oh, that was good.
Glad I brought that up. The next animal is the official state animal of New Jersey. It's the horse. Michael McCarthy and his 5th grade class at Our Lady of Victory School in Harrington Park, and James Sweetman, an 8th grader from Freehold, helped make the horse the New Jersey state animal in 1977. It's on the state seal. Who doesn't like horses? Tony Soprano famously likes horses. Tony Soprano, shouts to Tony Soprano. Pie oh my, and my oh my, I don't want to fight a horse.
No, it's just, and if there's an animal that you just think of when you think of pure power and muscle, it's the horses. I mean, heck, they even named a car element after
I was
them,
gonna
horsepower.
say, if a car's strength is measured in something called horsepower, I have 0 horsepower. I don't have that dog or horse in me. This already seems like a bad idea.
1,000%, because they could be absolutely massive, and they're made to graze and run, and they're heavy. They're hoofs and powerful kicking. You wouldn't even be able to catch up to it because they can get upwards of 35 miles an hour sometimes. So and that's the thoroughbreds sometimes could go even faster.
I've been to Monmouth Park. I see how fast they are, and talk about getting kicked by a horse. That's a really, really bad way to go. I'm pretty sure that like a third of people in the 1700s died from getting kicked by horses. So
it's rough. They're just so powerful, and I do take care of horses from time to time, and they really are gentle creatures, and it's all about a mutual respect for them. And if you're calm and everything, they are really putting their trust in you. So that's why you also see how gentle horses can be. And when they're, with other companion animals like goats or dogs and things like that, they really love, and they have that herd mentality, safety in numbers. So they always love to be part of a group.
I love the song Wild Horses by the Rolling Stones. I feel like a wild horse might be even more dangerous because they're not used to seeing humans and might just be ready to go, kick me right away. So, and you talk about how fast horses are. I'm not that fast. I'm not fast for a human.
What?
Back in high school, my tennis coach made fun of someone for losing a foot race to me. So if I'm that slow, if I can barely outrun a JV tennis player who's better than me, I don't think I'm out racing a horse. 1,200 pounds of pure muscle, and also like. They're wonderful, majestic creatures. I've ridden horses before. Mm-hmm. I really like it. I didn't go very fast. One time I almost fell off a horse, and that was scary. So, even when we're coexisting, the horse is winning. So I don't even think I don't think I could even like ride a horse at this point in my life. So I'm definitely not fighting one. Advantage horses, right?
I'd say so. And you didn't even talk about their, they have strong jaw muscles and just a really strong necks, and their bite's nothing to joke about either.
I've never joked about a horse bite, I promise.
Good.
Because I don't want to get bit. No, I've seen them teeth. They're gross. They're giant, and man, I like horses. Now I'm feeling sad about it, but. The next animal I don't feel that sad about, though I do think that it would end sadly for me, is the black bear, the largest land mammal in New Jersey, and you can see them in all 21 counties, according to the internet. They can weigh up to 400 pounds. They can be 5 to 7 feet standing upright, and they're bears. They're bears. There's the whole thing about like what you do when you see a bear. I've seen bears while on hiking trips, not in New Jersey, I don't think. But yeah, this was the first animal I thought of when we built this list, and it was the first one I was like, not even close, no chance.
Well, that's good. You came to that decision early. That's what's important.
I'm not kidding myself here. What can you tell me about bears?
They actually can be found in every U.S. state except for Hawaii, of course.
They never get to go skiing or never get to go surfing. That's a bummer.
It's just a far swim.
Or skiing, probably.
They can be, like you said, they can be absolutely massive, especially the males. And, they have going back to bite force with the beaver, the bite force on a black bear is around 800 pounds per square inch. So just to put that in perspective, it can't quite necessarily obliterate a bowling ball, but there's many types of concrete that it can crush with a bite. And it only takes 500 pounds of pressure to break our strongest bone in our body, which is our femur. So it's already way above that. So, but, it's also one of those animals that, all animals have a fight or flight thing. They don't want to fight. They are more scared of you. So that's why they say when you see a black bear, when you're hiking, the best safety tip is to make yourself look as large as possible.
I can do that.
A lot of noise.
I can do that.
People call me nail file sometimes because I'm annoying, so I feel like I could be confident to chase off a bear myself. And they will, 9 times out of 10 run away. When there's bear attacks, unfortunately, people are in the wrong place. They don't know what to do, so they run away. And when they're running away, that's something that can trigger their prey instincts to where they're like, I'm in it. Like that scene from Madagascar where Marty starts running away in front of the lion, and he's like, oh, and his eyes dilate. But so it's one of those things where better be safe than sorry. Whenever you go hiking, especially if bears are in the area, always, bring a bell with you, something that can bring noise to make them aware, a bullhorn, stuff like that. Always just rather be safe.
I'm sorry. I've just been thinking about the fact that we've said the word bite force like 7 times in this podcast already. I really never heard that word before, and I'm now thinking it would be a really good name for a hardcore band. But Breaking Concrete.
I like it.
Yeah, Breaking Concrete.
Concrete Bite Force.
I'm not Concrete.
New band if anyone wants it. Just TM. Trademark.
No, so there's a whole thing with certain bears you're supposed to ignore, and certain bears you're supposed to.
So with brown bear, which includes European brown bear, Kodiaks, grizzlies, it's called playing dead. You basically just want to go to the ground, tuck your head and knees, cover your neck, your vulnerable spots, because if they don't see you as a prey item and they think you're not worthy, they'll just smell you and hopefully leave you alone. So that's what you want to do, because, you try to fight, you try to make yourself look bigger. A brown bear knows how big he is. And they are notoriously more aggressive. And that's because, they do have to fight a lot more, in their territory and stuff. So they will go after you. So you do want to, like I said, it's best to not put yourself in those situations.
Yes.
But if you're gonna, be educated, know what to do, and know your distances and things like that. Always respect them. A lot of times they'll just walk away.
According to the New Jersey Department of Wildlife, when you fight back, you should aim for the snout. I think I'm just going to aim away from the bear and just leave, because I again, advantage bear.
Slowly backing away while maintaining eye contact is never a bad decision.
This really
you definitely don't want.
This explains why when I pitched Turtleback Zoo on doing a live podcast from the bear den, they said no, because they don't like podcasts. And the bears would kill me. I love that scene in Anchorman. It's like, can't talk to the bear, so to literally eat your face. And I don't want that to happen to me. But we have one last animal here, and this might be my favorite one, because this animal is no longer alive. The Hadrosaurus, the state dinosaur of New Jersey. Have you ever seen a dinosaur?
No, I have not.
I was hoping you might have, but alas.
Sorry, the one thing I disappoint you on. I'm sorry.
The Hadrosaurus lived during the late Cretaceous period. Bones were discovered in Haddonfield, New Jersey, which is why it's the state dinosaur. They can go up to 26 feet long, weigh up to 4 tons. They are the adorable duck-billed dinosaurs, and they're herbivores. They don't want to eat me, but they're still 4 tons. And I sizable size advantage there. They're found in South Jersey, and that's funny because people say we only talk about North Jersey here, but no, we're talking about South Jersey dinosaurs. And even if they're herbivores, even if they're duck-billed, I don't like my chances that much. But I have something in my back pocket. I'll bring up in a second. But what can you tell me about Hadrosaurus?
I mean, it's one of those animals that probably one of those first dinosaurs you always recognize as a kid, the duck-billed platypus.
They're very cute.
If anyone the duck-billed dinosaurs. If you ever seen Land Before Time, Ducky is a type in the Hadrosaurus family. She's a type of duck-billed dinosaur. And it was actually the first complete dinosaur skeleton that was ever found, because they found it in 1858. They started some of the bones, and then another scientist who saw some of the bones was like, we got to find more. He went back to that site and actually found more of the bones, and 10 years later, they actually constructed the first complete skeleton of a dinosaur in 1868. So
it is pretty cool to think that right here in New Jersey, we had dinosaurs.
We started it all.
We started, yeah, dinosaurs.
Paleontology, baby.
Those dinosaurs definitely love chicken parm. They were Jersey dinosaurs. There's a Bruce Springsteen joke to be made here. But when it comes down to it, I would love to see a Hadrosaurus in New Jersey, but you can't, because they're extinct. And you know what that means? Advantage Jeremy. I'm still here.
He finally got one.
Humans are still living. We're here. Dinosaurs, not so much.
We're here.
Hadrosaurus.
Get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Jurassic Park. We see how that ends. Do not open Jurassic Park in New Jersey. I don't care. Even if I guess it would be Cretaceous Park, which doesn't really roll off the tongue in the same way. But look, even if they were here, I have something. I have a secret weapon. Asteroid. Asteroids killed the dinosaurs. We don't know how the dinosaurs really died, but there is one theory that it was an asteroid. So I don't know if that strategy would work. But look, I had to get one legit win here. We were a little iffy on the brook trout. Hadrosaurus. I know you don't want to fight me because you're a herbivore. I don't care. We're scrapping, and I'm winning because you're extinct.
It wasn't looking good for you, really, this whole time.
Yeah, but at the end, I pulled one victory out.
Strong.
I would like to thank all the New Jersey animals who let me make fun of them or talk about them at their expense for this segment. I love animals, for the record. I don't want to fight any animals, even the ones I think I could beat in a fight, which it's a very short list. But it's New Jersey animals are dope, man. There's a lot of, and you don't think about us as like a wildlife state, but we got plenty of animals, huh?
Absolutely. And, I got to travel all around the world to see some animals, but
we're going to talk about that in a second.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. But like I said, there are so many fun spots here. If you want to take a weekend trip, go up to North Jersey. There's some beautiful hiking. Go down to Cape May in the summer months. You go on the whaling tours. You'll get to see dolphins, possibly some humpback whales, some other species. And it's, we're not so bad as a state. We're not so bad.
Absolutely. That is not our official policy. We are more than not so bad. We are great. Jersey's Best Podcast has the Jersey's best animals that I can lose to in a fight. But right now, Mike, before we let you go, we got to have you complete the Garden State Gauntlet.
All right.
It's a rapid fire series of questions that for you and you alone will be about animals. Are you ready?
Ready.
What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal ever since I was a kid always been the elephant.
Love elephants. What's your favorite New Jersey animal?
My favorite New Jersey animal, I have to say the black bear.
Black bear.
I have to say the black bear.
Had to pick the one that was going to kill me. I guess they're all going to kill me. Fantastic. What's the coolest place you've ever gone for animals?
One of the coolest place I've ever gone, it's tough to pick one place, but when I got to go out to Alaska, Seward, Alaska, it really was a bucket list experience. Between there and the beaches of Costa Rica to see the sea turtles hatching and sea turtles laying. It's just, there's so much life all over the place, but those were my two favorite spots. They're tied. Alaska, Costa Rica, number ones.
You got both ends of the spectrum there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. What's the coolest thing you've ever seen an animal do?
The coolest thing I've ever seen an animal do. That's a good one.
Stumped him.
That's a good one. I'd have to say the littlest thing, seeing a snake actually devour their prey, and especially when it's like the anacondas and they're just so much smaller, but then all of a sudden they're swallowing this thing whole, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know things could stretch like that. And then they get it down, and then they have that meal, and they're good for like a year. It was mind-boggling to see that. That would probably have to be the coolest thing.
We've established how scared I am of snakes, and that's scary. That might be scarier than even getting bitten, is being swallowed by one. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
You know what? I honestly would love to be an orangutan, because even they live in the canopies, they walk through the forest, and the strong arms, just being able to swing from tree to tree, and they're not having the greatest time right now, being endangered, but they're one of my favorites because primates are just so expressive, and you could see so many different human emotions in them. And they're one of my favorite to photograph, actually, is primates in general, because they see into your soul.
So when you watch the Planet of the Apes movies, you're rooting for the apes, huh?
Yeah, they got to win sometimes. Someone's got to beat us. Yeah, no.
If you could bring one animal from anywhere in the world and put it in New Jersey, what would it be?
Ooh. It may sound, I may sound crazy, but I think giant tortoises are probably one of the coolest things that I've always thought as a kid. They're right under elephants for me, and that would probably be one thing where if I was living amongst them, I'd be a happy guy.
That sounds awesome. I would pick giraffes. I want giraffes walking around New Jersey.
Okay.
Just imagine like a pile up on the or like traffic on the Garden State Parkway and just
run into a tower of
giraffe
giraffes.
crossing. Yeah. My last question for you. This is a bit off the beaten path, but I know you have a connection to this. What's your favorite karaoke song?
Whew. It would have to be "Pour Some Sugar on Me" by Def Leppard.
That is classic.
It's,
And why are we asking you about karaoke, you think?
A good friend of mine was present for I attempted karaoke marathon world records twice in my life, and each time one was progressively longer than the last, and the last time I did it was 10 years ago. I ended up going for 96 hours straight. I did get breaks, but they were few and far between, but it was a whole week of my life that was pretty insane. And it was the same 7-hour loop of songs. But that was 10 years ago. Today, actually, was when I started the marathon. But it worked out because I got to raise nearly $15,000 for a Wounded Warrior Project and a lot of the things they do and take care of. So it was worth it. There's some songs that are definitely ruined for me.
I bet.
If Stairway to Heaven or Sweet Home Alabama come on, I just skip right over
Stairway to
it.
Heaven for karaoke sounds terrible.
It was a long instrumental, so I was able to eat and drink.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Okay. Well, Wild Mike, thank you so much for joining us. That's a wrap on this episode of Jersey's Best Podcast. Wild Mike, this was so much fun. Where can people find your work and your plug whatever you got?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. Well, you can find me on Instagram at WildMike33. I also have a website that has a lot of my portraits from my travels all over the world to different zoos. It's wildmikeimage.com. And two of my books, The Wanderlust Keeper, which explores the importance of zoological institutions around the world, is on Amazon. And then my latest book, which came out this year, A Keeper in the Wild. I traveled to 7 different wild places: Alaska, Costa Rica, the West Coast, New England, to really put myself out there and take a chance as a wildlife photographer to show that, I have what it takes, and to show that beauty that's in the wild. And that can be found on Amazon as well. My pen name is Wild Mike Miller.
I love that. That's so sick.
Thank you. And I appreciate you guys for having me on. This was a whole lot of fun, and I'm glad to hear that you don't really want to fight any animals, because I don't condone that whatsoever.
No. I love animals. I don't want to fight them. I'm here. I'm committed to the bit, but I'm not. I'm an animal lover.
You're a gem, and just want to say that remember, all animals play a really important role in nature in our world. So best thing is to have a healthy respect for them. And, let them do their thing, and we'll do our thing, and hopefully we can coexist as best as we can.
Absolutely. We got to make that happen. It's important. Animals are dope. Don't fight animals. Respect animals. I think that's if there's one lesson from this podcast, it's respect wildlife, or they won't respect you, and you might end up getting bitten or fighting a brook trout. Who knows?
Whew. Oh, fish slap.
Fish slap. Save that one for the end. Thank you so much to our audio producer, James Shapiro, our video producer, Dwayne Uzaro, and our executive producer, Bobby Olivier. Thank you to the Schmutzadels for our theme song. If you have any questions, episode ideas, guest suggestions, anything like that, please email us at jerseysbestpodcast@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok. We're everywhere. We are a new podcast, and we're trying to make this happen, trying to blow this up. Like, subscribe, share, tell everyone you know about this podcast, because we're really excited about this, and the more exposure, the better. And please consider subscribing to NJ.com. There's a link in our episode notes. New Jersey needs high-quality journalism, and our journalists need you. Tune in again next week for the latest episode of Jersey's Best Podcast. And remember, Jersey forever.